In the distance, far beyond what sight and mind can see, there is a booming thunder. It shakes the very air as the tremors rattle the fog and mist that lick the very ground in which it rests. With rhythm, it grows louder, nearer. The shaking grows more intense until suddenly it stops. Silence. The fog rolls slowly back into its place, converging once again from all sides, and as it settles on the ground, it twists and wisps around the ground that is raising and morphing beneath the thin blanket of murk. As the ground twists and breaks, it liquefies and the faces of old begin to pour to the surface, devoid of color or life. Elves, men, dragons, and unfathomable beings that have passed beyond all knowledge rest in what is now this marsh of corpses. The fog settles over them, creating a pale, murky blanket, bringing ghosts to life out of the bodies long deceased and forgotten. Silence. From within the mist on the ground, a twist, slowly warping, growing larger and larger, something moving beneath its surface. Like a snake, it slithers between the bodies, careful not to disturb the dead from their eternal slumbers, until it stops. Whatever was stirring within the primordial mire submerged back from whence it came. Silence. As this expanse settled back to the calamitous darkness, the fog rolls away in the distance, revealing a pedestal. A marble pillar, standing as high and as broad as the peak of the Hottenau Mountains. Upon its summit, a silver plate, filled to the brim with a murky silver liquid. The wind begins to blow. The pace quickened, causing tornadoes and a hurricane of fog and wind as it lifted away the gray water from beneath the bodies that still lay suspended in space, untouched and unbothered by this unnatural calamity. A piercing shriek filled the air, and smashing sounds echoed a booming thunder through the desolate land. For the size of this pillar, the monumental structure, something larger had perched itself upon it. In the darkness, it extended its shapeless neck around the peak of the pillar, and from within the bowl in which it peered, the silver ripples unveiled something in which its great blue eyes intensely gazed. Previously on D&D Kinda. A large dragonborn by the name of Bartholonude is sitting in a dark room in the quiet of the night, rummaging over ancient scrolls. He hears a sound that is entirely foreign to him. It is almost a high-pitched singing mixed with a horrific scream. He sees it over the rooftops, something hovering in front of the moon. It shrieks again, and a third time, and each time the sound grows louder. Moments ago, he was amongst the few who endured in the darkness. The town awakes beneath the screams of what they cannot see, a mere silhouette created by the shroud of moonlight. The screams multiply as they are now mixed with the myriads of horror being experienced by the innocent and naive. He looks up, and in the pedestal of moonlight, it floats. This creature of malice. The sun began to fall in the sky as noon broke. Bartholonude pushed open the door to his study, and the four of them came pouring into the room. Papers lay across the table, scattered with symbols that were unrecognizable to any of them. They each began to look at the papers, desperately attempting to decipher anything they could find.
Ancient Draconic,
Hamilton said softly. Bartholonude objected.
I know the likes of Dragonborn text. This writing predates Dragonborn history altogether.
a strange dialect, of course.
Hamilton continued.
but dragonborn nonetheless.
If there was any knowledge to be gained from these scrolls and papers, then it would not be found at the hands of these four. Sure enough, laying in the bed is the nobleman. Benedict neared the nobleman, leaned over the side of the bed, and with his head next to the nobleman's ear, he whispered,
"We saw you die. Who are you?"
The nobleman turned his head and whispered into the ear of Benedict, the lead guard that brought you down here. From his perspective, the nobleman is just very sick.
Liam, over the past few days, we have spent a lot of time with your nobleman. And at the end of our journeys with him, we all saw him die. And we have exposed ourselves to dark things over the past few days. We believe that the nobleman laying here before us is indeed a masquerade of evil.
Bartholonude, you take the lead and lead everyone back to your house. And when you get there, you go in and you all climb the stairs, and something isn't right here. Bartholonude, you get to the door to your home, and there's a padlock on it. And as you pull the key from your pouch, you notice that the padlock is actually already unlocked. And whenever you push open the door, the five of you are standing there. Someone looks up at you and is sitting in your study, and it's the nobleman. There is a stillness in the air. Bartholonude's disheveled surroundings tell a mixed story, blending the turmoil of the night he sighted the malevolent being in the sky with the overturning and destruction of his belongings, searching for what Bartholonude only could assume are the scrolls or maybe something else. As his focus shifts from the surroundings to the creature perched in his study, Bartholonude, his friends, and Quent all filter into the room slowly around him, being stilled by what they see. The nobleman.
Ooh. So, Hamilton is going to ready his crossbow.
Okay. So you guys all walk in, and Hamilton, you pull out your crossbow, and Gwent, when he sees the nobleman, he actually takes a steady bow and says, "Bartholonude, had I known you would be entertaining guests of this magnanimity, I would have hired you at the Brandy's Main as my personal entertainer long ago. It seems you have connections."
You might call them connections, but I call them inconveniences.
So the nobleman obviously has taken notice of all of you guys walking into the room.
Why are you here?
So the nobleman kind of backs up against the wall, and where he's standing, it like opens up to the window, which is probably about at waist level, and it's a large window that overlooks the town, because your house does sit up on the second floor of this building. And whenever he sees Hamilton with his crossbow drawn, Bartholomew, you sound like you've taken a bit of a, not like a stance against him, but you obviously know there's a reason that this person's here, and it's probably not good, because you guys all know the nobleman to be evil at this point. So he kind of positions himself against that like open window, and he falls backwards, and like as he's falling, his body like elongates and contorts, and like with his feet like still on the ground, and he like bends backwards, and his feet still firmly planted, he like bends over like in a U shape over the edge of the window.
I want to fire my crossbow.
Okay, so go ahead and give me a what is that, a ranged attack?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have +3. That's actually not really terrible.
For a warlock, no.
That is a 19.
19? Okay. So as he kind of falls backwards, you fire this bolt, and it shoots through, and it goes clean through his leg. And go ahead and roll the damage on that.
4.
Okay, so the crossbow bolt goes clean through his leg, and as it does, his feet actually leave the ground, and just following his body, they rubber band around the edge of the window, and he falls.
Is there quick access to outside?
The window.
You guys just came into Bartholonude's house, so you guys could do one of two things. If you wanted to follow him, you could turn back around and run down the stairs and run out, because where he falls is right near the entrance of the building. Or you could run and jump out the window after him.
I'm jumping out the window. I turn into a dire wolf and jump out the window.
I jump on his back.
All right, so Benedict, you transform into a dire wolf, and Hamilton, you leap up on his back. Hamilton, give me an athletics check.
Oh, great. I'm great at these.
Because I'm imagining...
A dire wolf is much taller than you.
So,
I'm imagining you, Benedict, as a wolf, you, take off. You didn't stop.
Yeah, I was fucking... Wee.
Yeah, so got to make a check to be able to get on this.
So whether or not this works out or not, I'm just letting you know now so that I don't lose the chance to say so. I am going to reload my crossbow after whatever happens right now happens. So.
Okay.
That's a 7.
Whenever you go to jump up on this direwolf, I'm imagining he runs by you almost 3/4 transformed, and then you grab onto his shirt, which is changing into fur, and it weirds you out, and you just kind of slip off of it, and he just rushes right past you.
That is literally the least likely way that my character would not end up on you. Ooh, fur. No, I don't like this.
No, it wasn't the fur. It's just the fact that his clothing is transforming in your hand, and it probably feels pretty weird and disgusting. Also, maybe you should roll better. So, Topher, what's going on with you here?
I'm also still going to go with him and also jump out the window.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second.
I know.
Well, my initial reaction was to go after the guy, but they're going after him. And then remembering what Lokar had told Bartholonude about the scrolls and everything, and the fact that this guy's here makes me think that there's probably a way to reverse what happened in some of these scrolls. That's probably what he was looking for, so nobody would get that to banish him again. So I'm going to help Bartholonude look for whatever he's looking for, even though I don't know how to read those.
So, two things here. I need Benedict as a direwolf to give me a dexterity saving throw, and I also need Hamilton to make a dexterity saving throw as well, since you both leaped out the window.
Save throw. Okay.
What would his saves be?
It's just going to be the normal dex, so he has a plus. Direwolves have a plus 2 to dex.
I'm 17.
17.
Yeah, that was a 5.
Oh man. Okay, so
Killing it right now. Off to a good start.
all right, Hamilton, you take 5 damage.
Okay. That's
and
way better than I expected.
As you jump out shortly after the direwolf kind of landed on his feet just fine, and you kind of jump out after him, and you hit the side of the direwolf, and then tumble to the ground, causing you land on your arm.
Extreme
and
pain.
You feel it sprain a little bit, and you take 5 damage.
That makes sense, yeah.
And then you go, ew, because you touched his fur.
I don't like dogs.
Says the guy that chased one into the forest and caused a massive battle.
Oh, God.
Okay, so I'm going to go back upstairs real quick.
All right, see you later.
Daniel's the DM now.
Okay, bye.
So Gwent is so confused.
I would imagine so, yeah.
He looks at Bartholonude and says, So obviously, from his perspective, he sees a nobleman in your house. He's obviously very confused as to why nobility would be in your house. Not that he thinks you're trash, but he doesn't know why he would be here at this time of night. Second of all, he just watched the nobleman bend over backwards and contort his body in a way that his body should not have moved.
Do you know what time it is?
So obviously, everyone was at the bar before. It was given the fact it was very crowded, and then they closed up shop early. I would say it's probably around 11 o'clock at night.
Okay.
High near midnight.
I thought it took us 4 hours to get to my house before.
It took 1 hour.
Okay.
So.
Times 4.
Well, that's daylight savings. We traveled through a time zone.
Exactly.
So I kind of look over at Gwent, and he's just kind of like, what the fuck is going on? His eyes are like darting back and forth. He's just trying to take everything in. He's like, why is all this happening? And I'm like rummaging through and just trying to tell if I could notice anything missing or if anything has changed in the house since I've last been there. And I know it's been a few days, but do I notice anything immediately different from how I last had my house kept?
Make an investigation check.
Knowing that I live alone, I have a pretty good idea that things are the way they are, and I know the way they are.
It's an organized mess.
I got a 19.
Okay.
Wait. Plus investigation 0. 19.
Okay. So with the layout of your room, like you said, everything was kind of like it's a mess, but you know where everything is. So right where nothing in this room looks like it has been touched, other than because, like I said, last time you were in this room, everything just got the night that this creature was in the sky. I don't know if you guys recall, but the screech was so loud that the windows in your home were broken. Your lamps and inkwells shattered, and you were just so like distraught. It kind of like you in like this terror messed up your house. So it's like it's very much, everything's very disheveled, as I said earlier. Everything's very much out of place, but nothing looks like it's been moved other than the stuff that's on your desk has been shuffled around. And with that investigation check, you don't see anything that's missing. So I should say you notice, you don't immediately recall anything that's on your table not being there. Everything looks like it's still there.
Okay, cool. So I kind of look up at Gwent and I say, I know this might be confusing to you, but that is why it is of dire importance for us to find what's in these scrolls. It's why I'm asking for your help. This is something that impacts all of Faerun. And you might wonder why the nobleman was here, or why he is shifting in ways bodies don't normally move. And I can provide you those answers if you want to be involved, but I would recommend leaving.
Okay. I'm going to switch scenes back down to Benedict and Hamilton. So Hamilton, you pick yourself up off the ground, I'm assuming.
Yes.
And stand up. And Benedict, as a dire wolf, when you hit the ground, I'm assuming both of you immediately start looking for this creature.
Yeah, and I would say that when I get up to my feet, I would probably instinctively reach out and touch the flank of Benedict in direwolf form and try to cast guidance. Obviously, it's not going to do anything, but that would just be my natural instinct to do that.
I really want him on my back, like me, not Benedict. I mean, Benedict would too, but the wolf has advantage on attack rolls if a creature, if one of my allies is within 5 feet.
So stoop down, bitch. Make it easy for me to get up there. I'm small.
I kneel down like a majestic horse.
All right, so whenever you reached out to put guidance upon Josh, like instinctively, obviously he does not receive guidance, but he catches on fire.
Oh, cool. You light me on fire.
Whoops.
That's nice.
All right.
So, Benedict,
Okay.
direwolf form, you're on fire. Your fur is quickly lighting.
Okay.
What do you do?
I change back.
Okay. So you start to transform, and now
I'm on
PTSD takes over, and you are on fire.
And hang on, let me get back to my.
Hamilton removes his Rogaine cloak of glaucoma awareness and tries to fan out the flames with his cloak.
Okay.
Well, for now, I guess I'm just gonna stop, drop,
Stop, drop, and
again.
roll.
Oh, wait a second. I have a spell called Absorb Elements.
Okay.
What doot?
The spell captures some of the incoming energy, lessening its effects on you and storing it for your next melee attack. You have resistance to the triggering damage type until the start of your next turn. Also, the first time you hit with the melee attack on your next turn, the target takes an extra 1d6 of the triggering type, and the spell ends.
Sounds like you have to
you
have
want to
that
do
primed.
that, or do you want to see how him putting out the fire with his cloak goes first?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you should probably just do it. Yeah.
Well, fuck
It's
it.
a very small cloak.
Just try it.
All right. Survival check. Hamilton.
Me?
Yep.
Okay. Oh,
No,
that's
it's a rare check.
Let me
Don't see that one
roll
very
my
often.
dice that I normally roll with. Because
Yeah, if you
the
fail
new
this
ones
check, you
are not
die.
doing very good.
You don't survive.
That's a 9.
So you reach out and you start to, instead of like covering him with this thing to try to like to smother the flame, you start to like fan it to put it out because you're terrible at survival skills apparently, and you fan the flame, and then Benedict like starts to catch fire even more.
So, yeah, I'm going to cast Absorb Element at the second level.
Okay. So this kind of just like it kills the flame, it allows you to absorb it, and then you get an advantage, or I guess you can recast that.
So, like, on my next melee attack, I do 2d6, since I'm casting at the second level, of the triggering damage type, which is flames.
Okay. So here's what's going to happen. So you cast this, and I'm imagining the flame just kind of like dissipates as it kind of just gets sucked up into your hands, and then you like feel imbued and ready. So then you have that attack readied.
Yeah.
So I'm imagining all this took place all with just in like a few seconds. So Hamilton just caught you on fire for some reason or another, and then you are now Benedict again.
Yeah,
So
unfortunately.
both of you guys make a perception check.
13.
That's a 16. Or wait, 14. Jesus Christ.
All right, math.
Numbers.
Yeah.
Whenever you guys kind of put out this fire and you immediately like jump back into like attack mode and start to look around, you don't immediately see anything, but you hear footsteps coming from your guys' east.
Okay.
Yeah, so Hamilton turns in that direction and drops to one knee and readies his crossbow.
Okay. So the way I kind of imagine this is there's a burning torch outside of Bartholonude's, the building that Bartholonude's home is in, and it's kind of creating like this radius of light. And you guys are kind of standing right in the middle of it, and you guys hear footsteps approaching. And from the shadows, you guys see Liam, the captain of the guard, walk out. And so, do you guys say anything? Because obviously you guys remember Liam.
What the fuck?
Yeah. What are you doing here?
So when you see Liam, he's wearing his full guard's outfit, and he has like a brownish gray hood that's like pulled up over his head, and he looks injured, like he looks like downtrodden. He's like, we've been searching all night for Lord Signar, the nobleman. He left the quarters hours ago. Have you seen him? And as he's like walking towards you guys, make another perception check.
That's a 21.
It's a crit fail.
Duh. I'd still like to know why you caught me on fire. Thanks.
Benedict, whenever you see him walking towards you, you notice that he has a slight limp.
Mm-hmm.
Like this guy, it looks like he's been battle torn. Like Like
A
he's
limp?
been he's been out. He says he's been out all night looking for the nobleman who has been missing from his place for a while. And he continues talking and says, the last you all have saw the nobleman, he was not well, but he has since regained consciousness and has resumed his charge over the city. Lucky for me is I was filling in his absence, not a job that I took kindly to or nor I desire. It's much more stressful. But have you seen him?
Is he still walking towards me?
No, he kind of stopped at like the edge of the light.
What would I need to do to see if his leg injury is an arrow wound?
You could ask him.
I wonder if this guy is the monster.
Okay, so I'm going to go back upstairs with Gwent and Bartholonude and Topher. So, Bartholonude, you just get done giving a pretty compelling speech to Gwent, but I will say that it's left him with more questions than answers. And I know that you intentionally left it like that because you're trying to limit his involvement to leave him that choice. But Gwent has... The longer it goes on, he goes from looking less and less surprised to more and more intrigued. So he looks at you and says,
Bartholonude, I appreciate your concern. But I'm here to help. Tell me how I can be of assistance. And what was that?
Topher, will you please explain? So, Gwent, my primary concern is for your safety. I appreciate you acknowledging the sense of seriousness to the situation. And I do appreciate you volunteering to help. But I want to be sure that you know what the implications of this is. And if you would rather remove yourself from a potentially dangerous situation and potentially dangerous information, I recommend leaving. But if you are certain that you would like to know, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Gwent lets out a heavy sigh. And he makes his way over to the desk, which he has definitively discerned at this point that there is old scrolls and writings, likely what you were referring to, also what the nobleman was filtering through. He walks over and he picks up one without actually looking at what's on it. He just kind of picks it up, and it is still rolled up. It's still completely in a bound scroll. And he kind of holds it up and looks back at you, Bartholonude, and says,
Bartholonude, it's kind of you to consider this of me. But had you ever considered that I might be more involved in this than you are? Being a bartender is a burden in and of itself. I hear everything that happens in this town. I hear stories. I hear tellings. I hear contracts. I hear murders. So many things that I hear. I'm not telling you that I know exactly what's going on here. But since the beginning, since you have involved me in this, since Weisswein came to the bar and talked to me, I've prepared myself for the worst. There's information that I have that could be of help to you, and I plan to give it to you. Allow me to be of assistance. Do I have your permission?
and he kind of like looks at you while he's holding the scroll and kind of wants to get your go-ahead before he opens it up.
You do have my permission. And if you don't know already, the nobleman that you saw is not the nobleman you know.
So this catches his interest because, and you can discern by his reaction that he did not know that. So, which probably doesn't surprise you because that's probably not information that many people other than you guys are privy to. And he had started to like open up the scroll and unfurl it, and it just kind of like closes in his hand, and he looks at you and says,
Explain, please.
A few days ago, I witnessed the nobleman die. When I returned to town, I found him bedridden. When visiting him, we sensed an evil. In the fact that he is here, after knowing that these scrolls are important. I believe he knows as well. There is an evil at work here that trembles the foundation of the safety of Faerun.
Bartholonude, have you considered perhaps the nobleman didn't die when you saw him injured? Maybe he was healed by nefarious means. Maybe he's... I don't doubt you. I'm having trouble putting this together. I did just see his body move in a way that no human body should.
There are suspicions that we have that it is very unnerving to consider. But your eyes have not fooled you. The shape of his body did shift.
okay. Topher, do you have any comments, or are you just kind of absorbing this?
Well, yeah. I mean, I want to tell him that we moved the nobleman's body, and we could see that it, we brought him into basically the cave that we were at, his body, and there was definitely no life left in him, and I should, out of all of us, I should know that. As a disciple of life, I should know that
He had none.
that he
Zero
had
life
no
points.
life.
Benedict,
Hello.
you are standing here, and Liam is kind of at the edge of the light. What do you do?
Man, I really want to see if I can tell if this is the monster, because I notice he's limping. Can I make it like a perception check to see if it's the same leg that Hamilton shot?
Yeah.
Because obviously the monster's a shapeshifter. That is a 21.
So whenever he kind of fell backwards out of the window, the bolt went through the upper portion of this thing's leg, right as it started to contort. I would say like the thigh area. And it is the same leg. He got shot from your guys' angle. It was in the leg on the left, which would be his right leg. And it is the right leg that you see limping.
So I'm going to do this. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to punch him in the face with my energy absorbed hand. It's going to be an unarmed strike, so it doesn't like kill him. But I just have an inkling that this guy is the monster, and I'll just if he doesn't like do anything freaky after I punch him in the face, then he's good. But
okay, so I'll let you do this. That's fine. My only thing is, if he's standing there at kind of like the edge of the light, and he's actually just asked you guys a question, the only thing that's happened is you just kind of stood there, and now you're just gonna walk up on him and just punch him in the face. So I'm gonna say,
okay. I want it to walk. I want to walk up to him, obviously, and be like, I think I did see the nobleman. Actually, I think, yeah. And then like mid sentence, I'm just gonna fucking jack him.
I was gonna let you do it. I was just gonna give you disadvantage, but that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and give me an attack roll.
Okay.
I would say actually, the attack roll.
Okay, that's an 8.
Okay. All right, so here's how this is going to go down. You like walk up to him and you start to, do the whole like tripping over your words, like, yeah, we saw the nobleman. He's and then you just like start to go into a swing, and you like, he's taller than you, so you like jump and like swing at you, and he catches your hand like mid swing. And
Does he catch fire because it's fire imbued?
your attack was fire imbued that did not hit.
Well, technically it hit because he caught it. It touched him.
He does not catch flame.
All right, damn it.
However,
Bonus attack. Flame blade, level 4.
so he catches your hand and he like throws your hand backwards, and he takes a few steps back, and then he pulls like his pike off of his back, and he kind of like holds it, and he's like, have I done something to offend you? And he like holds it in like an attack pose.
Yeah.
All right, I think he's good.
I'll look at Hamilton and I'll walk away.
We told you before that the nobleman is not the nobleman. It's a fucking monster. And yes, we have seen the nobleman. He was in our dragonborn friend keep. But yeah, he ran this way somewhere.
So I'm assuming you take the time to explain to him like what just had happened. Okay. So Liam kind of like, he holds out he still is like in attack position, and he's like leaning on this leg that is injured. And so he kind of like, you can tell he's becoming like weary of this stance.
Yeah.
As he like slowly starts to let up, but his pike is still like pointed at you.
You can relax, buddy. I'm not gonna hit you anymore. I just wanted to see if you were gonna change.
Change? What? And he starts to walk backwards a little bit.
I told you, the nobleman is not the nobleman. He is a monster.
So when you say this, you notice that his face, it just kind of glazes over with like this extremely apathetic look. Like he's tired of hearing about this.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't believe it. He's not buying it. He's, from his stance, he's been with the nobleman day in and day out, and it looks like he's been getting better. He's more involved. He said he was active within resuming his normal duties again. So like from his perspective, he's just tired of hearing it. So he does put his spear away.
Okay.
And he like looks at you and he says, "Which way did the nobleman go? I just need to find him. We're worried for his safety."
Well, since he came from the east,
I mean, we really
he
don't
went that
know
way.
what direction he went in.
What happened to your leg?
He looks down and he says, "Earlier today, we had thought we had seen the nobleman across town at the Golden Barrel. And we went in, and our presence was not welcome, as it is not men of the law are not welcome there." And he kind of like rips down his, like, the bottom part of his chainmail that's kind of like hanging, and he kind of like pulls it up, and you see this like hole on the inside of his right thigh, and it looks just like something just went right through it. And then you can see it just very dimly in the light, and where there is a wound, and he kind of like drops it. He doesn't really feel like he has any need to give you any more. Like, why would he need to explain himself to you,
I'm going to tell him why he needs to explain himself to me. And it's because he shot him, and that the monster has that same wound.
So you explain like what had happened.
Yeah, I explained like why I was going to punch him in the face, and like why I assumed that he was the monster, because the monster is a shapeshifter, and he has the same wound that the monster has.
Okay. So he kind of like relaxes a little bit and says, "Well, that is very inconvenient for me. If you will excuse me, we must continue our search for the nobleman." And he turns around and he starts to move away.
No, you can. We'll help you look. Hamilton, yeah, we'll help. We're gonna help him look. Yeah. We'll kill him if we find him.
I think I'm going to shoot this guy.
Don't shoot him.
I think I'm going to shoot this guy.
Hamilton, please don't shoot him.
I'm going to shoot this guy.
Okay, you're gonna shoot at Liam.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm over talking.
I will say this: you are going to. He has turned and started to walk away into the dark.
Yeah, I'm going to shoot him in the back.
So you're gonna have. I would say it's going to be a normal attack because normally you would have advantage because he's probably within 150 feet, but he's in the dark and has walked out of your range of sight.
I have dark vision.
All right. Well, fuck me. So yeah, I guess you have advantage on the attack.
Cool. It's a nat 20.
Ooh. Okay. So you fire your crossbow bolt, and it where are you aiming at? I want to get obviously you can see him.
Right
where
in
are
his
you
butthole.
aiming for?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably just aiming for
Butthole.
Center mass.
his butt. Yeah.
You want to aim right
I
for
mean,
his butthole?
I don't want to take a fatal shot.
The butthole shot. It's not fatal. It just hurts a lot.
No, actually, fuck that. I am going to take a fatal shot. I
Oh,
really
God.
don't care. Yeah, just
Back base of the neck.
back of the head.
No, dead center, mid back, right in between the shoulder blades, aiming for a lung.
Okay. You fire, and this bolt zips out, and it goes into the dark, and which obviously you can still see. So zips to the dark, and it just right through, and you hear the, and you see Liam, and he falls to his knees, and he's got that, you can hear him. He's and he puts his hand on his chest, and he holds his hand out, and it's just he's just trembling, and he's just it's just covered in blood, and he just collapses in the street.
I'm gonna I'm gonna run over to him, and I'm gonna hit him with the cure wounds.
Well, don't do that yet. Check him to make sure he's not fucky.
Fucky.
Excuse me, sir, are you fucky? I'm looking for fucky. Fucky the ducky. All right, yeah, I'll go up to him and see if he's not fucky or bleeding black glue or having
Black glue.
yeah, yeah, black glue. Yeah,
That's what you said.
much like
Just letting-
gorilla glue.
Also, we
not.
should tie his ass up too before we heal him.
Take some time to think about it.
Let's tie him up.
I'm gonna jump back upstairs to the other two and Gwent. So Gwent, like I said, he had kind of put the scroll back, and he says,
An interesting notion. So the nobleman that we've had the last multiple days, when he fell ill, what exactly are you suggesting? That this creature is someone posing as the nobleman? Then what would he gain from resuming control over the city? There's been no malicious intent in what he's done. It's been, if anything, things in the last few days, he's put peace throughout the city on what had happened over a week ago with the monsters that fell the city that caused multiple deaths in the night. What possible reason would he have for making these things better as opposed to worse?
Just know that the agenda of such a dark evil will likely not reveal itself.
so Gwent, he continues to talk. He says,
I don't doubt you, Bartholonude. Everything that I've seen, I mean, anything could be possible.
and then he kind of looks out the window, and because he's hearing some stuff going on, and whenever he looks out the window, he sees Liam fall on his face dead in the middle of the street. And he kind of turns around, and he motions to both of you in a surprised fashion, and do you guys walk over to the window?
Yeah.
And you guys look down, and you see Hamilton and Benedict standing probably a good 15 to 20 feet away from Liam's body in the street.
So he shows Topher and Bartholonude that he is surprised, and Bartholonude leans out the window and kind of says loud enough so Benedict and Hamilton can hear. He says, "What has happened?"
Liam's dead.
Maybe. You guys should probably come down here.
He's probably dead right now.
Do you believe that the nobleman shapeshifted into Liam?
Not anymore.
We need a cleric. we need a cleric.
Topher, can you provide assistance to the wounded man?
Well, I think I can. So, I mean, I go down. Is he dead? Can I see if he's dead or not? I want to go.
Do you have dark vision?
No, but I want to go down next to his. I want to leave the apartment or Bartholonude's house and walk down and check him out to see if he's actually dead.
Okay, so you walk all the way down out. Bartholonude, do you go down as well?
No.
Okay. So you go down, and as you approach the body, it becomes he said that it was Liam, and as you get closer, you can tell it's Liam, and beneath him there is a huge pool of blood, and the cloak on his back, there is just probably a 1/4-inch hole that is just oozing blood, and it's the sand underneath of him, and the dirt is just red. So I'm going to jump back upstairs since you're still upstairs with Gwent.
Well, before you do that real quick, Hamilton taps Topher on the shoulder and kind of holds out his crossbow and says, "Got him with this one this time. No Eldritch Blast."
And then I want to cast jump on Hamilton. That's a real spell. I touch a creature and his jump distance is tripled.
So back upstairs, Bartholonude looks at Gwent and wants to know, looks to see if he's still holding the scroll that he just picked up.
Yes, Gwent is still holding the rolled up scroll in his hand.
So I motion to it and I say, "Did something in that scroll catch your intrigue?"
His attention changes from out the window back to the conversation between you and him, and he hadn't actually unrolled it all the way yet. He had just picked up one off the table, and then as you say that, he unrolls the entire thing. So on this scroll, it is completely unreadable by you. No one, I can confidently say that no one in here can read it, other than the fact that Hamilton was able to derive in the very beginning that it was indeed some sort of dragonborn text. Gwent, whenever he begins to look over it, he doesn't look surprised in the slightest. So he starts to talk. Bartholonude, I would need to do more research and obviously look at the other scrolls, but this one here tells more of a history lesson than it does of a spell. Are you familiar with your holy symbol? What does it mean to you? Where did you acquire it?
My tutor, my guide, what I could call my savior, went by the name of Father Cthlulu. He was a half-human, half-dragon paladin priest who was as talented and compassionate as he was strong and wise. We met in the town of Besegu. He was the proprietor of a traveling entertainment band known as the Fates Forge. He found me playing my flute, and as he approached me with a tear in his eye, he inquired about the source of such a sad and lonely sounding song. From that first interaction, it was like he saw in me the pain of my past and my depressive yearning for comfort. A comfort that I could only find when playing my flute. He and the others in the band of Fates Forge helped me find comfort by sharing my pain through my performances. I traveled and performed with their group. While traveling, Father Cthlulu and we would talk endlessly. His words were delicate yet precise and deliberate. He was able to quickly come to understand me, and as I opened up to him, he opened Bahamut up to me. Through the avenue of releasing sadness of my past, it unlocked a brighter and more powerful future with Bahamut and Father Kayutha. One day, we were revisiting the town of Besegu when he was struck by a serious illness. He could not leave his bed for days. During those days, I did not leave his side. I will never forget the moment when he reached under his shirt and pulled out this symbol. As he held it up with his seemingly last bit of strength, he spoke a chant. As he did, the land shook. The air became still and dry. A warm, bright glow emanated from his body. The symbol then floated from his hand, and his body shattered into a million wisps of light that floated and loftily around the room. There was this moment in the beautiful and infinitely complex pattern in these orbs of light when they moved in a way that looked like a face. The face spoke words, but it did not make a sound. And in another instant, these wisps of light began moving violently and began flashing and whirling into a fierce vortex above and into the floating symbol. And just like that, the light and Father Kayutha were gone. The symbol fell, and as it did, I reached for it and grabbed it. But when it touched me, I felt an electric shock. Not only is this how I came to acquire this artifact, but it is also how I became a paladin. After the death of Father Kayutha, the Fates Forge disbanded, and we all went our separate ways. I retired comfortably here in Neverwinter from my life on the road, but I never retired my search for answers. The electric shock from this symbol was like a spark that ignited a whole world inside of me that I could not see. I burned with curiosity. I began researching many expensive books, tomes, and scrolls to find the answers I seek, and spent many sleepless nights piecing bits of information together. But this was like a puzzle with missing pieces. I was never able to deliver a complete picture.
Gwent looks up at you after that stunning display of information and says,
Well, Bartholonude, it would appear that you've obtained from this one particular scroll anyway, you are on the right path.
and he holds the scroll, and he starts to like point at different places on the scroll, and there's like a symbol that looks like almost like a table, and under the legs on both sides where it would go off the sides of it, they're both like very heavily twisted. It's just like very looks like an upside down U, but everything's twisted, and the bottoms of the table like are twisted in. He points at these, and they're all over this page. He points at these and says,
Bartholonude, this is the symbol of Bahamut. It appears as a reason that you were so drawn to these scrolls. One way or the other, whether it be evil or good, which, make no mistake about it, Bahamut is a lawful god. A good god.
So he says that, and he goes on to kind of explain as he's like holding the scroll out, like opened up in front of him. He's kind of like scanning through it and kind of paraphrasing what it's saying, and he says,
the scroll goes on to tell,
and he looks up at you and says,
of many things that Bartholonude would probably already know. Bahamut was very stern and disapproving of evil. He accepted no excuses for evil acts. He didn't tolerate even the most minor offenses by evil creatures. In spite of his stance, he was also considered one of the most compassionate beings in the universe. Limitless empathy for the downtrodden, the disposed, the helpless.
and he looks up at you and says,
Not entirely like the demigoddess Selene, Bahamut would prefer, instead of killing creatures, to morph them into another being instead of killing them. By draconic standards, Bahamut was neither vain or desirous of treasure. He valued wisdom and knowledge, prophecies and songs instead. However, he also pursued viciously those who had tried to steal the hoard from his palace, as after all, he was a god of justice. It says here that he would prove the strength and worthiness of his followers by battling against them in his dragon form, halting the combat when his followers were injured or when they overcame him. However, he was prone to get carried away by his zealousness and had powerful healers on hand in case he had gravely injured one of his followers in this battle.
And then he closes the scroll and says,
Bartholonude, did you acquire all of these scrolls from the same place?
No. There were many efforts to acquire a diverse set of information. As I said, I was trying to piece the puzzle together, but it was like I never had all of the pieces.
in the middle of you saying this, he moves back to the scrolls and he like starts to rummage through some of them, because some of them are half open, some of them aren't even scrolls, they're just papers. And he goes and gets another just a paper that's already like unfurled, and he holds it up and he begins to read it, and then like just mentally kind of pour over it, and he kind of like stops, and you see his eyes lift up off the paper, and which is all you can see just based off how he's holding this. You can just see his eyes lift up and look at you, and then they lower back down to the page. And now we're going to go back out into the street. Topher, what exactly are you doing?
Well, I would reach down and like check his pulse, like check his neck, see if there's still a pulse.
Okay.
And if there's not, then I was going to cast something.
All right, and where are Benedict and Hamilton at this time? Have you guys kind of made your way over there as well, or?
Yeah,
I feel
like
like
I've already
standing
hog-tied
back,
this guy.
maybe a foot or two back from Topher, which we also we were tying him up.
I would imagine like you guys have the rope ready and you're like on your way to him. You guys are like a foot or two away at the point where he checks for any signs of life. So Topher, you lean over and you put your hand on this on Liam's neck, and go ahead and make a survival check for me.
That's a nat 20.
Okay.
Damn.
So when you place your hand on Liam's neck, you don't feel a pulse.
Okay.
But what you do feel is it's like it's warmth, but it's a fading warmth. And with that, I would say with a nat 20 teamed with your, since you're a cleric of the life domain, teamed with your ability to kind of innately sense life, and you can feel it. You don't feel like the life is draining from him and the warmth is leaving him, but you do feel like it is shifting.
Hamilton, Benedict, something's not right. There's no life left in his body, but something is happening.
We have rope.
Okay. But something is happening to Liam.
We should tie him up before that something happens. Do either of you have any spells that could maybe restrain him?
I mean, I got a thorn whip. That'd probably hurt him a little bit if he tried to move. Yeah.
Hamilton, are you going to tie him up or what?
I don't know. Do you guys think that's a good idea?
Yes.
I'm trying to incinerate this guy, honestly. But
Topher, how good are you at tying knots?
Depends on the roll.
fair.
Well, last time I tried to do something, I set Benedict on fire, so...
Oh, give me a rope. So I take his rope and I proceed to tie up Liam. And as he's on the ground, after I tie him up, I cast command on him, on Liam,
So Hamilton, you hand your rope to Topher, and Topher, when you bend over and you start to, you like stretch out the rope and you like place it on this, on Liam's body. You start to like roll Liam over onto his side to like wrap the rope around him, and whenever you pull it over to the side and you start to tie this knot, what you're noticing is that as you're bringing your hands closer together to bring the knot together, the rope starts to pull away from you. And I need Benedict and Hamilton to make dexterity saving throws.
Well, this did not go according to plan.
My saving throws. Fuck you, Jed.
That's going to be 7.
That's going to be a 21.
All right. So we'll get back to that in a second. Topher, you roll Liam over. You notice that like his chest is expanding and his clothes are like sinking into his body.
Knew it.
And I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
24.
All right. So Hamilton, you are standing, and
See.
as you're standing there, you start to move towards Topher, and there is a stabbing pain in your side, and there is a spear that like rips through your side, and you see blood like shoot out in front of you, and it's not to the point where you are impaled. It's like right at your side, and it like rips open like a part of you, like right in your rib cage, and it like shoots by you, and you see like the tip of a spear, and then it like pulls back, and you take 15 damage.
Holy fuck.
That hurts.
Benedict,
What's up?
you hear a footstep behind you, and right whenever you hear it, your instincts kind of take over, and you like dodge to the right. And as you turn around, there is another guard that at the point in time that you see him is a guard, but every second that you're looking at him, he is growing in height.
Oh, okay.
Topher, whenever you rolled this creature over, you're holding this rope, and as you see the rope like start to pull on from both sides, and you get a sense of exactly what's going on as you guys had your suspicions, you drop the rope, and this thing throws both of its hands up to try to catch you by the neck. And I'm imagining Topher just like falls backwards, not in a way that's like just falling over like limp, but you like fall back and like try to scurry backwards to get away from this. And I need the three of you to roll initiative.